Hello and welcome, or welcome back if you're a returning viewer to the channel. WB here, and in this video what I want to do is show you how you can perform host discovery using Nmap inside of a Linux system. As always, I ask if you enjoy what you see on the channel, be sure to like and subscribe, click the notification bell because I'm constantly adding content. Check out the description for a link to our community Discord server so that you and I can continue this discussion after the demonstration ends. Alright everybody, let's dive into host discovery using Nmap. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do in this demonstration, remember this will be a series of demonstrations across multiple videos because each one of these may take a while. So the first one that we're going to do is we're going to do a little host discovery, and one of the things that we're going to use within our network that we're going to scan is our Metasploitable 2 Linux VM that we loaded up into the VMware Workstation Pro. I do want you to keep in mind, if you haven't done this before, you're going to want to check out that video because a lot of the demonstrations that we do, especially in the Nmap series, are going to require Metasploitable. Now keep in mind they don't require Metasploitable, but if you want to see some results and make it a little bit easier on yourself to find some hosts, it will make it a little bit more enjoyable, give you a little bit more information as you discover some hosts on the network. So with that said, let's go ahead. Let's power on our VM. And one of the things that you're going to want to do here in your Metasploitable VM is you're going to want to get the IP address. Right, and because we're going to just confirm that it is within the network range that we're going to scan. And for me, if the IP address hasn't changed on the machine, because I've got the default installation, I haven't changed it to a static IP address. For me, it should be in the 192.168.0.0, or excuse me, the 192.168.44.0 network. But let's confirm. Remember to log into your Metasploitable machine. It's MSF admin with a password of MSF admin. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen here because I'm kind of zoomed in, and we're going to run ifconfig. And you can see here that I do have a 192.168.44.128. So if I rerun that, maybe we pipe that out to grep, and we do just inet there. There we go. We can see 192.168.44.128. So that's going to be within that network of hosts, network range that we're going to go ahead and we're going to scan. Now to get out of your VMware Workstation VM, just hit Control and Alt. That will allow you to exit that. And I'm going to switch over to my Ubuntu machine. So let's switch over to Ubuntu here, and there's a couple of things that we're going to have to do. Again, keep in mind, those of you that already have Kali and time is of the essence, skip forward into the demonstration because you can just start to run Nmap already. Keep in mind that as I do these demonstrations, I typically are going to assume that Kali is not your daily workstation operating system, but it might be. So make it a little bit easier on you, you all that already have Nmap. So what we're going to do first is we're going to do a sudo app, and we'll do an update real quick. And we'll run that. Could have run it all at one time, but we'll now do a sudo apt, and we'll do an install, if I can spell install. Syntax matters. We'll do install, we'll do nmap, and then a -y here. We'll go ahead and get this installed. All right, and we'll go ahead and clear. And now you should see if we run nmap, nmap is here. And what we're going to do in this one, what I want to do is I want to start out with host discovery so that those of you that are taking exams do keep in mind some of this information that we're going to be looking at, right? So one of the first ones that we're going to look at is a list scan. So I'm going to go ahead and do a nano here real quick, and we're just going to do nmap-demo.txt. And let's talk about the first one. So the first one we're going to do is a -s with an uppercase L, right? And this is a list scan, all right? And what it does is it simply lists targets to scan, right? Notice that one of the things that it's not going to do, all right, is it does not perform host discovery or port scanning. All right, so I want you to kind of know a little bit about that one. We'll go ahead, we're going to commit this, we'll write this down, but I want you to be aware of that. All right, keep in mind too, you can hop over to our Discord server and we've got all of the notes for this demonstration. So now there's a couple of different ways that you can define your target, right? So I want you to keep in mind ahead of time your targets, your networks that you scan, you must first have authorized permission. In my case, I have an internal network here that I own and I oversee and all of the workstations and servers within it. All right, so I am the owner and I am scanning my own network. All right, now that said, let's have some fun. We're going to go ahead and do a sudo nmap, and what we're going to do is a lowercase s for our host discovery, right? And then an uppercase L is going to define our type. This is going to be our list scan. And we'll go ahead and define our target. That's going to be 192.168.44.0, and we're going to use /24. Keep in mind we can define a range if we want. Remember, our Metasploitable is one of the target machines vulnerable. I could specify a specific target. I'm going to go ahead and we'll do Class C private IP address range because it's only 256 possibilities, 250 nodes. Again, keep in mind this isn't really doing any discovery. It's not going to tell me what's online, but it should give me an output, a list of the IP addresses within this network range. And should be fairly fast. All right, there we go. We can see our list scan has completed. It basically just went through a series of the IP addresses, that we defined within our target there, which was a network. Now, let's do a scan that is actually going to give us some information. All right, and the first one up that I want to talk about, let's go back over to our documentation. And I'm just going to rerun nano, right? So we did our list scan. The next one that we're going to do here is we're going to do a ping scan. All right, now a ping scan is going to be lowercase for both letters in this option, SN. All right, and this is a ping scan. Now what does that do? Well, it's obviously going to use ping, but joking aside, it's going to disable port scan. All right, and this is essentially going to send host discovery probes. Oops, and I did not even come close to spelling that right. Discovery probes. Maybe you all want to, you all might want to take your own notes down and not rely on me and my typing. So what is this useful for? This is really good for things like if you want like network availability. In fact, let's go ahead and put that there because I think that's an important thing to think about. Why would we use something like this? Well, again, it's useful for things like network inventory and availability checks. Right. So next up, we'll go ahead. Let's switch back over here and we're going to do our ping scan, right? That's the next one. Now, I will tell you, we could do this. Let me go ahead and just type out the command and then we'll talk about it. Nmap. All right, and then from here we could do our lowercase s, lowercase n, and we could define our target like we did. So 192.168.44.0 /24, right? So it's going to be 256 possibilities, 254 nodes that it's going to scan. However, we're going to increase the computational power and a time that it's going to take to scan this. So another way we can define targets here, I told you when we started the video, was that I can define a range of IP addresses. And that's what I'm going to do here just to save time. I'm not trying to short you on your training or your understanding, but what I am trying to do is save you some of your valuable time waiting on a reboot or a progress bar. So we're going to go ahead and run this. All right. Now, I do want you to keep in mind, remember, full transparency. Right? Our Metasploitable target was there. Notice it came back fairly quickly with a ping scan, right? When we move into our next scan, we're going to start to see an increase in the amount of information that's being sent. So let's go ahead. Let's switch back to our documentation. Let's add some notes here too, and I encourage you to do this. Next one is going to be uppercase P. In fact, we're going to have some different types of probes that we're going to be sending. All right. I want you to know that the lowercase n in the next few options that we have, it really is the second letter is it's the only one that's lowercase. So for your exam endeavors, try maybe that might help. So this is going to treat all hosts as online, right? And what does that mean for us? All right. So the next thing is do is it is going to directly perform port scanning, right, without ping checks. All right. This is something that, and let me go ahead and put this in here in our documentation too. This is useful for detection when ICMP is blocked or hosts ignore pings. All right. Now, are you following along with me in your note taking? Because if you're not, then you're not doing yourself a justice, you students of cybersecurity out there. So, all right. I hope you're taking the time to do the same thing here. All right. So let's go ahead. Let's do this one. We'll do the P lowercase n option. So let me clear the screen here. And one of the things that you're going to start to know, I'm going to do the same thing here. So the ping scan didn't take so long, but you're going to start to see as we add complexity here, it will take longer and longer. So we're going to change this lowercase s to an uppercase P. All right. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to run this. Now, one of the things that I should have told you, we didn't have enough time in the ping scan. I thought the ping scan might take a little bit longer, and it certainly did not. Is that when a scan starts to take a while, you can see this one is not finishing right away. You can hit enter a couple of times, and you can determine how far the scan has progressed. Notice we're at 77%. And again, this was only, what do we have? 10 IPs, right? And it took a little bit. Imagine if that was 256, or, there's possibilities, right? Or if it happens to be class B, 4,994, right? You go up to something like a class, a class A network, and now we're in we really easily could be in the millions. So just be very careful on how large your scans are. Because you could see that it takes a while. So notice that our scan report here, right? It did port scans, and it found that there were quite a few hosts that are up within this network range. And not only the one that is kind of glaringly obvious here is our Metasploitable machine, which has pretty much been lit up. But you can see, as a result of treating all hosts as online, we found a lot of additional information here. So let me go ahead, let me clear the screen on this one. And I want to mention a couple of things, a couple of other ones that are kind of useful here. Not necessarily that will demonstrate each one, but now what we're going to do, again, these are going to be probe types, and you're going to start to see the second letter in each option here is capitalized. So for your exam purposes, I want you to remember the ones that we're going to do here, right, allow you the ability to add on some of the different scan techniques. We'll have a lesson on scan techniques on how we can work with the TCP three-way handshake, but you can actually integrate that right into your host discovery scan. So there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. Uppercase S, remember all the first letter is going to be uppercase P on all of these. So the first one, if you can remember, the uppercase S is a SYN scan, right? That's going to be your TCP SYN scan. We have another option here. We can do dash P, and this is PA, right? And nope, we're not talking music here. Right now what we're doing is the TCP ACK scan. All right. We can also do UDP too. So we can do an uppercase P, and you might have guessed it, PU. This one doesn't smell too good. Kidding aside, so that's a UDP discovery scan, looking for those ports. And then a little bit more advanced, and we'll talk about this when we get to the finale of our Nmap course here, and that is the stream control transmission protocol. It's another transport protocol, and there are specifics where you can, if you have telecommunication systems, you can do PY, and that will do your STP or SCTP. And again, it's a stream control transmission protocol. It's actually a transport protocol that kind of combines some of the speed of UDP, but still gives you some of the reliability of TCP, and it's used in telecommunication systems. So you could do something like that. And you could do your SCTP NIT scan too. So to give you an example on this one, right? So we could do something like this where we do a sudo nmap, right? And then we do PS80, and maybe we do port 443 as well, right? So we're saying perform the SYN probe against these ports, right? In fact, let's go ahead. Let's go back and do that, because one of the things I didn't tell you is you got to put your target here too. Your target. All right, so we'll put our target there for completeness in our syntax. Let's go ahead and save this, and I'll just kind of leave it open here. And we could go back over here, and we can do the same thing, right? So for instance, if we wanted to, we could do a sudo Nmap, and please bear with me as I start to reduce the range on these the IP addresses in the scan. This is just to help us, save you some time, right? So we're going to do PS here, and we're going to do 80. We'll do a dash. We'll do 443, and then we're going to specify our target. And I'm going to put our target as in there a little bit closer here. We're going to do 125. And then we'll do to 129, just kind of reducing that range a little bit, and we'll go ahead and run this, and we get our results. So that was quick and fast. However, keep in mind we did define port 80 and port 443. It definitely found the port 80, and it did not find any of the port 443. Now, if you want to get a little bit more strict with this, you can. If you want, you can just tell it, hey, I only want to scan those specific ports. So to do that, we can do sudo space nmap, and we can do -p. We can do port 80. We can do port 443. And then we can do a lowercase s, uppercase S, and we can define our target range again. We'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to shorten that range a little bit, again, just for our demonstration purposes through 129, and we'll go ahead and we'll run this. All right. So now notice what we did. We instead we said, hey, I only want to look for these ports, and that's good. If you're, for instance, if you wanted to do something like this, where maybe you define the range, right? You go through a network and you're like, I want to find unencrypted and I want to find encrypted web traffic on my network, right? Maybe I want to find, are those services even on my network? All right. And notice here what we did. We said port 80, port 443, but now we're doing 256 possibilities. And one thing you're going to see here is notice that the time frame that it is taking, only 7% done. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do a Control C on this, clear the screen here, because I did just want to show you that, right? You can add some the scan techniques to your host discovery options here too. There's another one I want to talk about before we call it a day. We will have some additional topics coming up where we do more advanced host discovery. What I'm doing here in the introduction to host discovery in Nmap is giving you some options that you can utilize as you dive into your lab environment. The next one I want to talk about is the -N. And the uppercase R. All right. Now, what are we talking about here? All right. We're either saying never do DNS resolution. All right. Or we're going to say force DNS resolution. All right, so either or. So what does this do? All right, let's go ahead. Let's define that. All right, when we're talking about -N, this is going to disable DNS lookups. When we look at the -R, right, this is going to force DNS resolution. You can say resolution here in this one as well. All right. Now, this is a good way that if you want to speed up scans, so maybe we'll put that in documentation too here, useful for speeding up scans, right? Or ensuring name resolution, depending on how you use it, right? Name resolution. All right, and we'll go ahead. We might add some more to our documentation in later videos, but this is going to be one more scan that I want you to see here. Let's go ahead and write this out. We're going to hop back over here, and we're going to do a sudo nmap. We will do a -n, because we're going to speed up our resolution here. Right, and we're going to do -port, P, and we'll do what we want to do. Let's just do port 80, and then our target is going to be 192.168.44.0.120 through 129. All right, and we're going to go ahead and run this. Now, that shouldn't take too long. Yep, very, very fast, right? So a quick, easy way, again, that you can either disable DNS or name resolution, or you can force it, right? All right, there you have it, everybody. Quick and easy way to disable name resolution. However, we've talked about a lot of additional things here. Keep in mind, we will have additional Nmap videos coming up in the Nmap series, so check them out. And if you like what you see on the channel, make sure that you subscribe and leave me a comment or two, and also join our community Discord server so that you can have access to all the notes that we are using in the demonstration. Thank you for watching.